So let us start with EcoTress. That's who is on my first on my list, but I'm very flexible, honestly.
Okay, well, that's us. So,
Okay, cool.
okay, whenever you're ready, let me know.
Already, go.
Perfect. So, good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for being here today. We, EcoTress, are excited to share with you an innovative, sustainable solution to one of the most urgent environmental crises we face today, oil spills, and how we EcoTress Solutions is leading the way with materials you'd never expect, human hair. So let's begin with reality. In 2023, Chevron alone reported 80 oil spills, releasing over 1,890 barrels and 80,000 gallons of oil. And this wasn't just an environmental disaster, it came with a heavy price, the life of aquatic animals and our lives. So by 2025, Chevron ordered to pay $740 million in damages for the destruction of the Louisiana wetlands. Unfortunately, this isn't an isolated case. Oil spills continue to threaten our oceans, wildlife, and coastal communities. The effects are long lasting and, in many cases, irreversible. That's why the way we respond to these oil spills matter more than ever. Traditionally, oil spills have been addressed with chemical dispersants. These are used to break up oil into smaller droplets, supposedly because it makes easier cleanup. But that what's often ignored is that the damage these chemicals use is pretty intense. The dispersants can be highly toxic. They are linked to the death of marine life, destruction of entire ecosystems, and serious health problems for the people living near the effective coastlines. Also, not to mention, they're also very expensive and offer only short-term relief. From an ethical standpoint, this is deeply troubling. Using the chemicals that knowingly harm living beings and the environment violates the principle of non-maleficence and the idea of do no harm. Um, these methods also lack transparency and are often chosen because they are fast and easy, not because they're right or safe. So the question becomes, is there a better way? At EcoTrust Solutions, we believe the answer is yes. Our approach is grounded in sustainability, ethics, and science. We promote the use of hair mats and hair booms. These are absorbent barriers made entirely from donated human hair. And this may sound strange at first, but hair is naturally oil absorbent. In fact, 1 kilogram of hair over 2 pounds can absorb up to 5 times its weight in oil. And the best part, it's biodegradable, non toxic, and readily available. Hair is collected ethically from salons, barbershops, and individual donors rather than becoming waste. The hair is repurposed into powerful environmental tools. Not only does this reduce landfill waste, it also gives people a way to actively participate in environmental protection. And this method has already been proven. During the 2010 BP Deepwater Horizon spill, 300,000 hair booms and 40,000 hair mats were deployed with real success. And that disaster was one of the worst in history. And yet the hair based cleanup played a meaningful role in the actual relief.
Our issue also aligns beautifully with the UN's Sustainable Development Goals, especially Goal 14, Life Below Water, and Goal 12, Responsible Consumption and Production. Let's not forget the ethical dimension. Hair is donated voluntarily, no exploitation is involved. This is coordinated by nonprofit organizations like Matter of Trust, which ensures transparency and promotes awareness. It's a community effort, citizens helping to clean up their planet. Now, what happens after hair mats are used? Once saturated with oil, they're classified as hazardous waste, just like any other oil cleanup tool, and they're sent to licensed disposal facilities. There, they're safely incarcerated in waste to energy plants. This process ensures that no oil seeps into the ground or waterways, unlike many chemical dispersants which can remain in the ecosystem for years. Let's circle back to Chevron for a moment. In 2014, they paid $13.1 million in remediation settlements for spills in Kern County, California. In addition, they've paid 35 million to Brazil authorities for an offshore spill and faced a $744.6 million lawsuit in Louisiana wetlands. These numbers are staggering. And yet, much of this could be mitigated or even avoided with better or suitable response strategies. In conclusion, oil spill crisis demands a shift, not just in method, but in mindset. We at EcoTress Solutions are offering more than just a cleanup. We are offering a movement, a way to respond to environmental disasters with ethics, science, and sustainability, a way to turn human waste into environmental protection, and a way that involves communities save money and protect life below water. Thank you for your time, and I invite you to imagine what a future could look like if we all decided to clean up, not just oil, but the way we think about our planet. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Team EcoTress. You did a wonderful job. I think, as I told you before, Asa, I have learned a lot. One question I have for you, though, is that after these mobs are used for cleanup to soak up the spill, can you clean them and reuse them? Is that a possibility too?
No, they cannot be cleaned and reused, but they can be reused for the cleaning up the oil, but there still is a purpose for them. They're not just waste. They can actually be sent to waste to energy centers, so you can convert it into energy. So yeah, they get a second life, and that's the ethical disposal of them, right? Because we don't want them back in landfills or creating waste. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, well, that's great. Thank you again. Very informative, really good delivery. Obviously, you have done your research, you know about the subject, so kudos. Thank you.
Thank you.
All
Thank you so
right.
much.
Okay, so the second team I have is Fission Impossible.
Can start anytime.
Anytime.
Good morning, Waste Control Specialist Board of Directors. Thank you for the opportunity to us to come back to elaborate further on the ethical dimensions of nuclear waste management. I'm Brianna Grapson, and I'm joined by my colleagues Taylor Schoolcraft and Carson Katsumair, consultants here at Fission Impossible. Imagine producing something so dangerous that it has to be sealed away for 100,000 years. That's nuclear waste, the radioactive byproduct of one of the most safest and cleanest sources of energy, nuclear energy. Today, over 90,000 metric tons of nuclear fuel sits at interim facilities at nuclear power plants across the United States. As tech companies look to nuclear power to fuel AI growth, the amount of radioactive waste is only expected to increase exponentially. And the question isn't just how we're going to manage the waste. How are we going to manage the waste ethically? To understand the future, we must look to the past. In the early 20th century, over 200,000 tons of radioactive waste was dumped directly into the ocean until global conventions banned this practice. In the 1970s, the US disposed of contaminated soil from Nevada onto the Marshall Islands, displacing entire communities. And now today, waste is being stored on site across the US, raising risks of terrorism and disaster for local communities. Again and again, the solutions are proven short-sighted and unethical. So how do we manage going forward? The nuclear energy industry is not only known for its production of energy, but also its commitment to responsibility. From construction to decommission of nuclear power plants to now storing nuclear waste, every phase demands safety, transparency, and long-term thinking. And experts agree, the most responsible and ethical path is a deep geological repository, a centralized underground facility that isolates waste for thousands of years and is accessible if needed in the future. Texas, a pro-nuclear state and growing tech hub, has the momentum to begin. With stable salt formations and an arid climate and low seismic activities, West Texas is one of the most geologically ideal frontiers for nuclear waste management. And waste control specialists based here has the rare opportunity to set the national standard, combining geological advantages with industry expertise to safely, ethically, and sustainably store nuclear waste. And this isn't just a project, it's a turning point in history, but with leadership comes responsibility. And now I'll turn it over to Taylor to dive deeper into the ethical dilemma behind this issue.
Thanks, Brianna. So at the heart of this issue is how do we protect future generations from something they didn't create? This is the primary reason we see a lot of fear in nuclear energy. Who wants to deal with something they had no say in creating? To elaborate on concerns that were mentioned in our last board meeting, a current issue we are facing today in nuclear energy is waste leakage, such as the ongoing concerns at the Hanford site in Washington, where decades-old storage tanks have been found leaking radioactive waste into the surrounding environment. As Brianna discussed, historically, nuclear waste has been dumped into oceans and on islands, and this is not sustainable, and we need a safe way to prevent leaks, but while also creating an ethical solution that is long-term. While we could ignore it today, we know better, so we must do better. Our solution embraces this responsibility through practices that prioritize both long-term safety and ethical accountability. Our ethical operation means planning for stewardship beyond our lifetimes, ensuring future generations aren't left with the ticking time bomb of nuclear energy waste. Public perception plays a key role in this. Engaging communities early and often isn't just ethical, it's smart business as well. It fosters transparency, builds trust, reduces opposition, and ultimately increases operational sustainability for long-term success. Ethical solutions require understanding all the levels of stakeholders involved. Government at the local, state, federal, and even international level are responsible for creating and enforcing regulations that ensure the safe handling and storage of nuclear waste. Industry players such as the nuclear energy companies must manage waste responsibly by using best practices and investing in long-term storage solutions. Their commitment to safety directly influences public trust and the success of nuclear energy as a whole. Local communities, especially those near storage sites, must be protected and heard. They deserve a voice in the decisions that affect their health, land, and livelihoods. Early and consistent engagement with these communities builds trust and reduces any resistance. Future generations are often overlooked, but again, they'll live with our consequences of today's decisions. They inherit the outcomes of today's nuclear waste decisions, yet have no say in the process. Ethical planning means designing systems and policies that protect them from centuries to come. Each stakeholder group, from federal regulators to the local farmer, represent both an ethical obligation and a business reality. Waste control specialists' long-term success depends on balancing these interests fairly and transparently. Finland is a global leader in the ethical nuclear waste management through its Onkalo repository. Onkalo sets the bar, and we want to approach the same standard. Like Onkalo, we emphasize stepwise decision-making and public trust through transparency. This approach reflects ethical principles such as respect, responsibility, and equity. By applying this framework, WCS can lead the way in creating a uniquely American solution to nuclear waste management, one that incorporates the best global practices like Finland's geological repository model, but tailors them to our own cultural, political, and environmental context. This is where Hofstede's cultural dimensions offer insight. The U.S. scores high in individualism, which means people value independence and personal responsibility. We have a short-term orientation, which means we like clear and immediate transparency and results. People want to know how today's actions will impact their communities. WCS is well positioned to meet these expectations by engaging stakeholders, maintaining transparent communication, and upholding accountability. Touching on points of topic from our last meeting, Texas' strong support for nuclear energy among the Republican population, driven by a robust energy sector and pro-business policies, makes it an ideal location for innovating waste solutions in the nuclear energy. With growing need for reliable, clean energy, Texas offers both the demographic scale and political support to build a bold, ethical model for nuclear stewardship. And I'll pass it off to Carson to discuss our ethical framework.
Our deep geological disposal model is measured against strict global ethical standards created by the Nuclear Energy Agency. According to their framework and how to measure geological nuclear waste storage, we must consider the ethical and environmental considerations. Waste management must minimize risks for both current and future generations, and you should not impose undue burdens on future societies. We measure our solution in terms of intergenerational fairness, which focuses on not leaving unresolved problems for future generations, and intra-generational fairness, which focuses on equitable involvement of all affected communities. Our solutions to nuclear waste management in regards to other existing solutions maximizes both of these. Furthermore, this ethical challenge also ties into global priorities via the UN Sustainable Developmental Goals. The first goal is Goal 7, which ensures access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. Nuclear energy plays a role, but we must manage its byproducts ethically. The second one is Goal 12, which ensures sustainable consumption and production patterns. This includes safe waste management, minimizing environmental impacts, and engaging communities. Our nuclear waste storage supports these goals by ensuring energy systems are sustainable from start to finish. For waste control specialists, ethical designs and operation decisions, choosing long-term containment over cheaper short-term fix prioritizes transparent communities with local communities and investing in infrastructure that won't burden future taxpayers. So in conclusion, this isn't just a science problem, it's a human one. Our decisions today affect people thousands of years from now. We must act responsibly, ethically, and globally to ensure nuclear waste is handled in a way that respects life now and in the future.
By applying a framework based on inter and intergenerational equity, as well as aligning with the Sustainable Development Goals, we can ensure that waste storage doesn't operate at the cost of the people or the planet. Transparency, public trust, science, and sustainability must be pillars of any solution. And the question is not whether we can store nuclear waste, but whether we can do it in a way that is responsible, ethical, and sustainable.
And today, we are ushering in a new era of nuclear energy, shifting public perception and securing a cleaner and safer energy future for our current and future generations. By investing in a centralized geological repository and partnering with regulators, waste control specialists can lead the nation, not only ethically, but operationally, setting the standard for others to follow. Thank you. And please let us know if you have any questions.
Well, thank you so much, Fission Impossible. Again, I learned a lot. I love the way you set up your presentation. You let me know that who you are. You kept on reminding me about the last meeting, which is great. You know, again, this is a follow-up presentation, follow-up meeting. So that's really always a very good idea. Remind the audience you have spoken to them about it before, and you're coming back with additional information or more explanation. So your delivery was spot on. If a little bit, I wasn't keeping time, but I think you guys ran a little bit long. But nonetheless, I learned a lot. Very smooth, good presentation. Excellent work. Very, very proud of you. So good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, who's next team? Carbon?
Carbon shift, I believe.
Carbon shift is on deck.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, are we ready to get started?
We are ready to get started whenever you are.
Okay, thank you very much. Again, thank you all for your time and inviting us back to your office again. We're very happy to present to Chubb again, the largest insurance company in the United States for personal as well as casualty insurance. And so first, today I want to only focus on the ethical issues at hand. Yesterday we talked about some big picture financial legal aspects. And today I want to step back a little bit and first create some grounding on the topic. And so today we're going to talk about, first myself, I'm going to talk about carbon in general, carbon emissions in general. Setting the stage in the 1990s, some Scandinavian governments were the first to tax corporations on using excess carbon dioxide, or emitting excess carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Now, how that's shifted over time is companies and firms have both tried to create more creative solutions to combat each other in order to reduce their costs on both ends. But the main issue here is that the Scandinavian governments created this because they knew eventually someone would have to pay for excess carbon emissions in the atmosphere, whether that was through infrastructure needs or through health concerns for its own citizens. And so with that in mind, we want to then focus the shift into how this relates to carbon credits. One thing that firms use is carbon credits, and we'll talk about that a little bit further. And then as well, within Chubb specifically, I also want to talk about some of the points listed in the financial statements. All firms within the insurance industry currently, most of the top firms, like Swiss Insurance, Swiss Reinsurance, as well as Munich Reinsurance and Chubb, all mention how excess carbon dioxide can and will create financial impacts in the future. And so as a board of directors, there is a fiduciary duty and an ethical responsibility to its shareholders to maximize their shareholder value. And what that means is to increase premiums for its clients that emit carbon dioxide, as you already have, which are very splendid, and we're very happy that you are already doing that. And then we want to move the conversation towards the carbon credits, which June will talk about next.
Pardon me. So the concept of carbon credits is that there are two kinds of carbon credits: the mandatory carbon credits, which here has briefly touched about, and voluntary carbon credits, which I will discuss further now. So the voluntary carbon credits so mandatory carbon credits are a hard cap, which is a very limit on what you can produce. And while voluntary carbon credits are something that you buy to offset your emission after the fact. But so in theory, we would be able to offset our carbon in the atmosphere that someone emits. However, the problem is that it is not effective enough. So scientists say that at this stage in climate change, this is an ineffective measure in combating carbon emission and climate change, that what we have to do is do it now. So we have to decrease our carbon emission to begin with. And where this kind of leads into is the issue of greenwashing. Greenwashing is where an organization promotes that they are committing to sustainability measures, but yet they are not taking the effective or committed measure into combating the said climate issues. So this can be interpreted as companies not doing their due, and yet they are marketing this as if they are committing. So carbon credits give an easy way out for companies to pardon me. So carbon credits give company an easy way out to promote their sustainability measures by simply buying their offsets from external parties. And with this, they don't have to worry about anything. And what they only have to do is just pay for the carbon credits and just forward their responsibilities to the issuing agencies. And so there is, instead of actually contributing and reducing emissions with themselves, they are just buying it out. And it is hip. And while Chubb yourselves do not use carbon credits in offset projects, it is hypocritical I would say it could be hypocritical to underwrite those who do. And now I'll pass on to Luke.
Yes, so as Chubb, we are trying to, we have set ourselves to quit use of carbon credits. However, some of our clients are the exact producers of these carbon credits. This is why we think that as an ethical practice, this is an unethical practice, given that we are ensuring the very distributors of the carbon credits that we're fighting to get rid of. I would like to thank you for your time and for listening to our presentation. Thank you.
You did really a good job. I think this is a very topical topic that we have heard about it quite a bit in the last a couple of days, especially with student presentations, but also it is something that I think I'm an engineer and I think about it all the time about, that idea that a big polluter could go on and pollute, but then pay nominal fee to purchase these offset credits. It's just kind of even if you don't think about it morally or ethically, you think, okay, that really does not make sense. Something does not compute. So I'm so glad that the topic is being looked at, especially with you up and comers. Thinking about these issues, it's so important. So yeah, coming up with valid solutions that actually work and make sense, rather than just pushing the problem down the road is an excellent idea. So again, thank you for your time and thank you for the presentation and congratulations on you completing this round. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we have
Thank you.
one more team. Thank you. So yeah, whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Okay, perfect. We'll start now. Good morning, members of the board. Thank you for your opportunity to speak with you again today. We are part of the Greenovators consulting team, and my name is Soraya.
And my name is Ellie.
And today, our goal is to continue to explain how to make H&M a global leader, not just in fashion, but in ethical innovation. Yesterday, we had spoken over all the aspects of our proposed plan, but today we would like to focus on the ethical issues and solutions we can provide.
As we mentioned in our meeting yesterday, H&M is one of the largest fashion retailers in the world, operating in over 70 countries with thousands of stores. As a key player in the industry, your decisions influence not only fashion trends, but also sustainability practices that impact millions of people, from customers to garment workers.
The fast fashion industry as a whole generates over 92 million tons of textile waste annually, and nearly 20% of global wastewater pollution comes from textile production. As one of the most influential brands, H&M has the power to lead responsible change.
We want to revisit the current ethical concerns that are challenging H&M's public image and long-term sustainability. Right now, overproduction is at the center of that challenge. Millions of garments are being produced without accurate demand forecasting. As a result, tons of unsold inventory are either wasted, landfilled, or incinerated. According to multiple reports, H&M has billions of dollars in unsold inventory, and at one point as high as $4.3 billion. That's just not just a financial liability, it's a massive environmental and ethical one.
This overproduction has serious consequences. It undermines your commitment to sustainability and contributes to growing climate and waste issues that are front and center for your consumers. It also puts pressure on suppliers and workers, potentially leading to labor conditions that conflict with H&M's code of conduct.
Additionally, there's a growing perception of greenwashing. While your conscious collection and other initiatives are a step in the right direction, many consumers and watchdogs believe they lack transparency and measurable impact. Research shows that 73% of Gen Z risks damaging the trust that you've built with your audience.
But there's a way forward. That's why we're recommending the integration of HeroTech, an AI-powered trend forecasting platform. HeroTech uses advanced image recognition to scan and analyze millions of data points daily, including influencer content, street-style photos, and runway looks, sourced from social media platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest.
This AI doesn't just identify what's trending. It predicts when and where a trend will gain traction and which customer segments are most likely to engage with it. That means H&M can make smarter decisions about which styles to produce, in what quantities, and for what regions, months in advance. Brands like Louis Vuitton and Adidas have already integrated AI-powered forecasting to reduce their overproduction and optimize their supply chains. For example, Adidas uses AI to create limited runs on their designs tailored to regional demand, preventing excess inventory while still meeting customer needs.
It also breaks trends down by key features like color, fabric, silhouette, and product type. So instead of relying on reactive production based on past sales, HeroTech enables proactive planning based on what customers are gravitating towards in real time. As we mentioned yesterday, while HeroTech isn't the cheapest option, it is a worthwhile investment in every possible way. The platform starts around $100,000 annually for enterprise use. But even reducing overproduction by 5% could save H&M tens of millions a year in materials, logistics, and markdowns, not to mention reputational damage.
The ethical benefits of solution are tangible and far-reaching. First, it reduces overproduction and waste, directly supporting Sustainable Development Goal 12, responsible consumption and production. By aligning supply with actual demand, H&M can avoid billions of unsold inventory, cutting down on landfill waste and carbon emissions from destroyed garments. Additionally, smarter forecasting allows for more efficient resource usage, reducing strain on textile production and minimizing unnecessary consumption of water, energy, and raw materials. This not only benefits the environment, but also enhances brand credibility, as consumers are increasingly scrutinizing fashion companies for their sustainability commitments. By taking a proactive approach, H&M can position itself as an industry leader in responsible production, reinforcing its pledge to innovation while responding to shifting consumer expectations.
Second, it improves supply chain efficiency and helps protect workers' rights, supporting Sustainable Development Goal 8, decent work and economic growth. With better forecasting, production can be scheduled more responsibly, reducing the last-minute demands that often lead to unsafe working conditions and excess overtime in factories.
And third, HeroTech enhances transparency, supporting Sustainable Development Goal 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. By openly adopting AI to improve sustainability practices, H&M can rebuild trust with consumers. Clear data-driven sustainability efforts not only strengthen credibility, but also provide measurable benchmarks for continued progress. As consumers become more discerning, they expect brands to demonstrate accountability, and AI-powered forecasting can serve as a key tool in reinforcing H&M's commitment to ethical fashion. When sustainability claims are backed by concrete data and visible impact, accusations of greenwashing become far less likely, ensuring that H&M remains a leader in responsible retail.
HeroTech isn't a quick fix. It's a long-term alignment with H&M's own goal of becoming 100% circular and climate positive by 2040. And of course, any major innovation comes with a share of ethical concerns, and we want to be transparent about those.
One concern is that this technology might unintentionally accelerate fast fashion by enabling quicker trend cycles and feeding into consumer pressure to buy more. This could conflict with H&M's mission to lead the change for the circular and climate positive industry.
Our solution: ensure AI insights are used only to optimize inventory and reduce waste, not to speed up turnover. The emphasis must be on producing less, not pushing more. We recommend building clear internal guidelines that tie AI usage to sustainability KPIs, such as reduced unsold inventory, lower emissions per garment, and improved supplier working conditions. By tracking and publicly reporting these outcomes, H&M can prove that its goal is not to intensify fast fashion, but to lead in thoughtful, efficient fashion.
Another concern is job displacement. If H&M produces fewer garments or leans more heavily on AI than human input, design and manufacturing roles, particularly in developing regions, could be at risk.
Our recommendation is to invest in worker retraining programs, helping employees transition into roles in circular fashion, sustainable materials, and quality assurance. These are the areas that will grow as H&M evolves.
Finally, we must address data ethics. HeroTech scrapes fashion trends from social media, but are users aware if images and content are being analyzed for commercial insights? This raises valid concerns about privacy and transparency, as individuals may not have knowingly consented to their data being used in this way. Ethical considerations around data collection and user awareness are becoming increasingly important, especially as AI-driven tools play a larger role in shaping business decisions.
Our advice is simple: remain fully compliant with all data privacy laws and go a step further by clearly communicating how AI is used with the company, both internally to workers and to consumers. Transparency here will strengthen H&M's brand integrity.
We believe this solution has the power to enhance H&M's global reputation while making a meaningful impact on sustainability without compromising the values at the heart of your brand. Innovation alone isn't enough. It must be pursued responsibly. This is more than just adapting to new technology. It's about leading the future of sustainable fashion. By integrating AI-driven forecasting with ethical oversight, H&M can solidify its position as a true pioneer in responsible retail. The decisions made today will shape the company's legacies for years to come.
In conclusion, we're not just offering a new platform, we're offering H&M the chance to lead the next chapter of ethical fashion. HeroTech allows H&M to become not only more efficient, but also more just, more transparent, and more aligned with the values it has pledged to uphold. This is a strategic investment that tackles overproduction, labor concerns, and environmental waste without sacrificing profitability. It's an opportunity to prove that fashion can be fast and ethical, driven by smart, sustainable decision making. Let's take this step forward and position H&M as the model for how business and ethics move forward together. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation, and we look forward to hearing your feedback.
Well done. Again, another, you knocked it out of the park. I loved your presentation. It was very smooth. I learned a lot. It's very current and topical subject. Actually, I was just reading something about especially specifically about H&M and the glut of their production. You know, it's just apparently they have no idea how scarcity works. So it is just it's again it's very topical. I love this idea, and everybody is very scared of okay, we have AI and all of the new emerging technology, and it's wonderful to see ways to use it in for a sustainable development as we are moving forward. So that's just a really good application. That's very timely. So again, your delivery was awesome. I loved that I could tell which team you were on. So it's again for the rest of the teams. It's really it's always good to remind your audience who is talking. So I think that worked out really well. So again, I assume you're done as well. You're well, good job and congratulations on finishing. I am so very proud of you and everybody who presented today. So it was an honor for me to hear from you all. Okay, thank you.